What I am pulling from here is work from the psychologist Tara Brach. She has a self-compassion practice that she uses the acronym RAIN, which stands for recognize, allow, investigate, and nurture. Let's recognize what's going on with us physically, emotionally, allowing it to be, making space for what we're feeling. Investigate is being curious about it. And then we'll get into that in a second. Nurture is asking ourselves, if I'm in a moment of difficulty, how can I care for myself? So with that being said, I would encourage you to, if you haven't already, turn off your videos. Allow yourself to just kind of drop back into your body. Once more, if you feel comfortable, closing your eyes or gently dropping your gaze. And what I would like for you to do is start by bringing to mind a situation in your life that's causing you some stress. It could be a health problem, something as small as my lower back is bothering me. It could be a relationship problem or a work problem or some other struggle, something that's causing you stress. Choose a problem that is in a mild to moderate range. So if we're going to do it on 1 to 10 scale, something that's around a 4. Not a big problem. We want to build the resource of self-compassion gradually. Visualize what the situation is clearly in your mind. What's the setting? Who is saying what to whom? What is happening? What might happen? Allow yourself to really connect with something that's causing yourself some stress. See if you can notice some discomfort arising in your body as you start to visualize this. If you don't feel any discomfort, then you might want to choose a slightly more difficult problem. Now try saying to yourself silently, this is a moment of suffering. That's mindfulness. Other options of things you could say is just saying to yourself, this hurts, or this is stressful. This is hard right now. Now let's start with recognizing. Recognizing means consciously acknowledging right now the thoughts and feelings and the behaviors that are affecting you. Just noting to yourself what is going on. What are you feeling? What are you thinking? What is happening? Now we're going to allow the experience to be there just as it is. Allowing means letting your thoughts and your emotions, your feelings, physical sensations simply be there without trying to fix them or avoid anything. You might recognize there's feelings of fear. If that's the case, you can say to yourself, it's okay, or this belongs. Maybe there's some feelings of sadness, frustration, anger, hurt, loss of control. Allow yourself to know what's there. If there's some hurt there, say, yes, this belongs. Some pain, yes, this belongs. Sadness, yes, this belongs. Allowing creates a pause that makes it possible to deepen your attention. Now, in doing this, if at any time emotion feels like it's too much, you can always ground yourself by connecting to the sensation of your feet against the floor, your body against the chair. Once more, returning to your hands on your belly or your heart, giving yourself comforting touch, reconnecting with your breath. But see if you can stay with what you're feeling. Now we're going to investigate. So let's see if we can feel with natural curiosity, where do you experience this emotion in my body? If it's fear or anxiety, a lot of times we feel it in our chest or our throat, maybe our stomach. There's a lot of frustration or anger, irritability around the situation. You may feel that in your shoulders or your neck or even throughout your body. See if you can locate the discomfort in your body. And if you can't, that's okay too. Continue to be curious and ask yourself, what am I believing right now? What am I believing about this situation? Believing about myself? Whatever arises, just allow it to be. You don't need to fix it or change it. Maybe even ask yourself, what does this vulnerable place want from me? What does it most need? This vulnerable place inside myself. And now we're going to move to nurturing with self-compassion. Self-compassion naturally begins to arise in moments when you recognize that you're suffering. And then it comes into its fullness when you intentionally nurture yourself. To do this, try to sense what the wounded or frightened or hurting place inside of you most needs. And then offer some gesture or act of care that might address this need. Does it need a message of reassurance? You're okay. You belong. I see you. Does it need a message of forgiveness? Everyone makes mistakes and I forgive you. Does it need a message of love? I'm here for you. I care about you. Experiment and see what an intentional gesture of kindness, what kind of message can you give yourself to bring comfort, to soften and open your heart? It might be a little whisper. I'm sorry and I love you. I'm sorry they're going through this and I love you. It might be, I love you and I'm listening. It's not your fault. Trust in your goodness. In addition to a whisper, many people find it healing to once again put their hand on their heart, maybe on their cheek, and imagine being bathed, embraced by warm, radiant light. If it feels difficult to offer yourself love, you can even bring to your mind a loving being. It could be a spiritual figure, family member, friend, a pet. Imagine that being is there offering you love and wisdom flowing into you. Allow yourself just to be present with that feeling of being cared for. breathing easy and naturally. When you're ready, try wiggling your toes, wiggling your fingers, slowly blinking your eyes, coming back into the room. If you feel comfortable, go ahead and turn your video back on. And if you are willing to share, if you could put in the chat what that experience was like for you, just a couple words. There's no right or wrong way to experience that. Maybe you may have felt uncomfortable. You may have felt anxiety or uncertainty. It may have felt calming or reassuring. Just put in the chat a couple words of what you're feeling right now. Michelle put in there that she loves Tara Brach and she has a great podcast. She does have a great podcast. Uncomfortable and then calm. Yeah, that feeling of being uncomfortable and then calm. I think that is really profound. When we think about emotional self-care, it's making contact with things that we tend to push away or avoid to try to distract ourselves. And usually there is feelings of being uncomfortable or vulnerability, even some moments of hurt. But what happens if we can stay with the presence of connecting to what we're feeling and respond with kindness, then we can see how those emotions can shift. In this case, shifting from feeling uncomfortable to calm. Healing and moving from worry about something to being excited about it instead. So there we see another shift. This practice of making space for what you're feeling, responding with kindness and awareness, allowing it to be, this practice, the more you do it, the more you can trust yourself to hold difficult emotion. And by connecting to with what you're feeling and responding with kindness, the feeling is transformed, it changes. So remember, what we can feel, we can heal. It requires setting aside time and intention to make space to be vulnerable. And with any kind of self-compassion practice, if it ever feels like too much, you can always release the practice. And that in itself is a form of self-care.